Okay, so now we're going to work on a dominant position from mount. Mount arguably is one of which, especially if it wasn't pure jiu-jitsu, from a street fight perspective, is really dominant, which is why you get so many points, I believe, in the jiu-jitsu system. So Rob's going to get on his back here, and I'm going to have arrived into a mount position. Doesn't matter for this part of the instructional how I got there, but I'm going to be in a very dominant position. So in a mount position, there's a couple things to remember. What you want to start out as, one choice is your arm is underneath the head, okay, and you're gripping the shoulder here. Some people like to float here for a little better balance. My preference is here. This hand stays up high because what it becomes is my stabilizer. Rob's not just going to lay here, he's going to start moving around. And what this allows me to do is keep my balance depending on where he's pushing me. One of the things that shuts down part of Rob's range of movement is my shoulder pressure again here. We talked about it earlier in side control, but whenever I get up here on somebody, I'm always going to drop my shoulder in because now what I've done is I've shut down a pretty robust range of Rob's movement just by controlling this head here. Okay? So grip, float hand, and you can always switch. Keep in mind, if he's moving out dynamically and you feel like he's getting away to this side, look, just switch. Now I've got him even in a worse position here. I've had his head locked to one side now with my chest. Another area that you'll start to see occur is when you're here, people will start to bridge and try and get you off. Okay? When he bridges like this, he's floating my hips, which is not good for me. What I like to do, if you slide around to the side or the back here, is I will then spring out my feet. You can put your toes out like this, or you can put your toes like this, depending on your flexibility. But what this does now is locks up Rob's hips in one position. He's lost his ability to displace my hips. Now, so when he relaxes and tries to again, I've taken away all his hip movement. Whereas here, I'm bouncing up and down on a trampoline, see? And I'm creating space for him. See exactly what he did there? He's trying to get his knees in. Right up, see what he did? So now, if I put in my springs, he goes up, boom, I load right away. He no longer has displacement. I have him locked in. Another thing you can do from here is a grapevine. I'm here, watch my feet. I go underneath, flare out my feet, and I put my legs locked out. And also what I do, give me your ABCs again, Rob.
A, B, C, D, E.
I drive my hips into the mat. Let's hear that one more time.
A, B, C, D, E.
So that's a very effective movement, as you can see. One other thing about mount. We'll just cover this. When you're in this mount position and start your control, always remember, keep these legs tight against him. Just good pressure. Knees and feet tight against him. All right? It'll restrict his movement to rotate. When you start to attack from mount, you want to, for the most part, always transition to a high mount. Right now, I'm in a normal mount or a low mount. High mount, what I want to do is I want to start walking my knees up, keeping my pressure here, and this is now allowing me to start to isolate either a neck or an arm. See how it starts to float his arms up? If he was just to react normally, it's starting to get the arms where I want them and I can attack them. So this is a high mount. Also what this does, when he starts to buck, takes away all his displacement. I don't have to cover as much, and then when I put my heels underneath here, he's really in a bad situation. So this is my high mount. So that's your mount series. It's a very effective attack position. There are a bunch of small details that make it even more efficient.